Hey, welcome back. Have you ever had to pull off something that seemed impossible? Not just difficult, but the kind of thing where if you stop to think about the logistics for too long, your brain just gives up? Maybe it was a project at work or planning a surprise that had to be kept perfectly secret. Now, imagine that project involved secretly lifting a sunken Soviet nuclear submarine from the bottom of the Pacific Ocean in the middle of the Cold War without anyone finding out. That, my friends, is not a movie plot. That actually happened. I'm Ibnul J. Farabi, and this is the Curiosity Compendium. Today, we're diving 3 miles down into one of the most audacious, expensive, and technically brilliant covert operations of all time, Project Azorian. So let's set the stage. It's March 1968. A Soviet submarine, the K-129, armed with 3 nuclear-tipped ballistic missiles, is on a routine patrol in the Pacific. Something goes catastrophically wrong. The sub sinks, taking its entire crew and its cryptographic equipment and its missiles to the bottom of the sea. The Soviets search frantically, but in the vastness of the ocean, they fail to find it. The U.S. Navy, however, with its sophisticated underwater listening arrays, pinpoints the location. It's sitting there, on the seabed nearly 3 miles down, well beyond the reach of any existing salvage technology. For the CIA, this isn't just a wreck. It's a treasure chest. The codebooks, the encryption machines, the nuclear warhead designs, the missile guidance systems. This was a once-in-a-generation intelligence opportunity. The only problem? How do you steal a 2,000-ton submarine from under the ocean, and more importantly, from under the noses of the Soviet Navy? This is where the story shifts from a spy thriller to an engineering fairy tale. The CIA turned to the genius of Howard Hughes, the eccentric billionaire industrialist. The cover story was perfect. Hughes was building a massive ship, the Hughes Glomar Explorer, to mine manganese nodules from the ocean floor. A totally crazy, but believable, Hughes-esque venture. The world bought it. But the real purpose of that ship was something else entirely. It was designed to be a giant, secret lifting platform. The engineering challenge was staggering. They had to build a massive mechanical claw, which they called the capture vehicle, strong enough to grip the submarine, but precise enough to be controlled from the surface. They had to design a system of pipes, called a string, to lower this claw 3 miles down. That's longer than Mount Everest is tall, and keep it stable in deep ocean currents. The whole operation had to be conducted in complete silence, because Soviet spy ships were constantly circling the area, watching. Now, picture the scene in the summer of 1974. The Glomar Explorer is on station, pretending to be mining. The massive claw has been slowly lowered through miles of pitch black, freezing water. On board, in a top-secret command center dubbed the Bat Cave, technicians are guiding it using sonar and cameras. After weeks of painstaking work, they maneuver the claw around the hull of the K-129. They engage the grapples, and they begin the slow, agonizing lift. For days, the submarine is raised, foot by foot, up that impossibly long string. The tension must have been unbearable. They were literally stealing a piece of the Soviet Union's most powerful military asset. And then disaster. As the sub was about halfway up, a portion of the claw failed. A large section of the submarine broke free and plunged back into the depths, taking with it most of the prize cargo, including the missiles and the conning tower. The team managed to recover the forward section, about a third of the sub, but the biggest prizes were gone. So, was it a failure? On the surface, and for decades, that's what the world believed. The mission was compromised in 1975 when a newspaper broke the story, and the CIA famously neither confirmed nor denied. The narrative became one of a costly, botched operation. But let's reframe that. They did recover a Soviet nuclear submarine from 3 miles down. They did bring up the bodies of 6 Soviet sailors, who were given a formal burial at sea with full military honors. A moment of profound, secret humanity in the middle of the Cold War. And the intelligence haul, while not everything they wanted, was reportedly significant. Soviet torpedoes, code books, and other documents that gave invaluable insights into Soviet naval capabilities. The real triumph was the engineering. They proved that something deemed physically impossible was, in fact, possible. They pushed the boundaries of deep-sea technology in ways that later benefited oceanographic research and offshore oil drilling. Thinking about this from my perspective as an engineer and an entrepreneur, what fascinates me isn't just the spycraft. It's the sheer, audacious problem solving. The team behind Azorian looked at a list of constraints that would make anyone quit: secrecy, depth, pressure, weight, international law, and an adversary watching. And they didn't just find a workaround. They invented entirely new fields of work. They built a one-of-a-kind ship. They created new kinds of steel and new hydraulic systems. That, to me, is the ultimate lesson of Project Azorian. It's a testament to what happens when you channel immense resources and brilliant minds toward a single, seemingly crazy objective. It's about the power of a well-crafted narrative, too. The Hughes cover story was a masterpiece of misdirection, a lesson for any startup crafting its public pitch. The legacy of Azorian is a paradox. It was a secret that was partially revealed, a success that contained a dramatic failure, a technological marvel born from geopolitical rivalry. It lives in that gray area where history is most interesting. It reminds us that the most incredible stories aren't always the ones with perfect endings. They're the ones where people dared to try the impossible, learned from what went wrong, and left behind a legacy of innovation that stretches far beyond their original, secret goal. The next time you're faced with a problem that feels insurmountable, remember the engineers in the Batcave, guiding a claw through the darkness, 3 miles down, just to see if they could. Thanks for joining me for this deep dive. If you enjoyed unraveling the mystery of Project Azorian with me, please do share this episode with a curious friend. For more stories that explore the hidden corners of history, science, and human ingenuity, make sure you're subscribed to the Curiosity Compendium wherever you get your podcasts. This is Ibnul J. Farabi from Light Not Studios. Until next time, stay curious.